Hey, what's going on, everybody? Justin here, and in this video that's actually on time for once. I think I skipped my December TBR, I want to say, because by the time I got around to even pretending to upload it, it was 2 weeks into December. But this time, I'm actually doing my January TBR before January 1, so that's actually pretty cool. I'm on a roll. I think I've done 4 or 5 videos now on something of a schedule, so that's pretty cool for me. I'm really excited, kind of going into the new year, on a good, a winning streak here, so really pleased with that. But anyways, like I said, today's video is gonna be my January TBR, and I'm not 100% sure. I want to kind of start doing things a little bit differently with my TBR. I think maybe I think I'm gonna bring the TBR down a little bit and actually read the ones I select, rather than taking a lot of times I sort of was taking 10 or 12 books and just kind of hacking at it, I suppose. And this time kind of going into things I'm going to try doing maybe just 5 or 6 books, then making sure I kind of read most of those, and then doing some other stuff too, because I usually read more than 5 or 6 books a month anyways. But be as it may, we're going to try it, see what happens, and let's just get started. Alright, so for the first one, we're going to try and go with reading one of my VSIs every month, my Oxford Very Short Introductions, which, I say in every other video that I mention these, I'm going to try and do it every month, and then I never do, so, we're just going to start the year off and see if actually last year, 2020, I did do, the first 4 months were good, and then I just completely stopped. But the first one here is Mammals, A Very Short Introduction by T.S. Kemp. I'm going with this one just because I love reading about zoology and animals and the flora and fauna and everything. Plus, it's actually my newest one. It's number 535. I think they're at 600 or something, but it just happens to be the newest one that I own. So that's why I'm going with Mammals. Nothing super crazy fancy there. But next up is going to be a Horus Heresy book. I'm going to try and I can't remember exactly what this. Actually, I haven't set my 2021 goals yet. That's why. But Horus Heresy has 54 books plus 8 in the ending kind of series. So there's 62 books or something like that. It's gonna be insane. But I've read the first 9 so far, plus a smattering of a couple other ones. So I'm gonna try and roughly go in order, I guess, as I get them. Now we got Tales of Heresy, edited by Nick Kime and Lindsay Priestley. This one I think is actually a short story collection by a lot of Black Library authors. So I really don't know too much about it, but it's got a pretty dope cover, like it. Actually, some of the short story collections are really good. My very first one that I read was actually Garrow, even though it was by the same author, James Swallow, I believe. It was actually kind of a compilation of short novella, short story type stuff based on the character of Garrow. So actually, these actually can work pretty cool, I think, and I actually haven't been let down by any of the short story collections yet in Warhammer 40k or Horus Heresy 30k stuff. So that's why we're going with a number, I think, like I said, I think this is number 10, yeah, 10 in the series. Now, I do want to try and make this year read a little bit more fantasy. I'm going to have a video of just explaining how dismal my fantasy reading was for 2020, but I'm gonna try and do maybe a little bit better with it than 2021. Maybe we'll see. At least start the year off a little bit better. But first up, we're gonna go with The Night by Gene Wolfe. I have read 2 books in his Books of the New Sun series, I think is what it's called. I've read The Shadow of the Torturer and The Claw of the Conciliator. I can remember his Sword of the Lictor, Claw of the Conciliator. They're really good. He's a super wordsmith. Unfortunately, it is sad. I think he passed away this past year or the year before. But he's really into symbolism and allegory and metaphor and stuff, and some of the stuff actually is over my head, and I have to kind of go online and sort of look some stuff up, but it just reads really beautifully, which is why I enjoy it. And apparently The Night is a part of a duology. I think duologies are kind of cool because it's you get a little bit more than just kind of the standalone work, but you don't have to invest into 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 books, which I'm super really good at finishing, apparently. So we're gonna go with The Night, and I think the second book is The Wizard, and it's called the Wizard Knight duology. I don't really know too much about it, except that it's a maze and a labyrinth and a puzzle or something like that, so it's gonna be something really, you gotta piece it all together and everything, which it kind of sounds cool. Plus, like I said, it's written really well, so that's why I'm going with Gene Wolfe's The Night. Alright, next up, I got 2 books. I've been sent by publishers and stuff. I need to really get going on finishing. I got like, actually I've gotten, I think, past like halfway, at the halfway point or something. But anyways, let's go with the first one, which is Rebecca Simon's Why We Love Pirates, The Hunt for Captain Kidd and How He Changed Piracy Forever. I mean, it's literally a book on pirates, which is why I requested it, which I think is pretty cool. I've actually not had good luck with pirate books. I think I've read a couple. I think just in the past couple years, I think I've read 2, and I think neither of them I was really happy with. I think I gave them like, I was like lenient and gave them like middle of the road marks, if I remember correctly. But I really want a cool sort of, I don't know, pirate book, and it just sounds like really cool, like why they've sort of stuck with like the popular imagination, why they've kind of just like hung around as like, you know, the swashbuckler cool, like just awesome appeal that pirates like seem to exude and whatever, and kind of historically how that kind of wasn't always the case and everything like that. So it kind of looked like kind of a cool blend of kind of like you know, previous history along with sort of like modern contemporary thought on them. So anyways, that's why I asked for that, and I'm pleased that they were able to send me a copy of that. And then next up for another one is a pen and sword book, which does a lot of like military history and stuff, but I'm really into like the ancient Roman, ancient Greek stuff. I think actually this is Green Hill Books, which is like, I don't know if it's like an imprint of Pen and Sword or whatever, but Simon Eliot's Pertinax, the son of a slave who became Roman emperor. I don't know, I almost said who became Roman Empire. Yeah, okay. Anyways, for those who don't know what Pertinax is, which is quite understandable because there is a lot of Roman emperors, and he was an emperor during what is known as the crisis of the 3rd century. And for those who don't know what that is, there was about 30 emperors-ish. Like, we can't even tell who was actually like legitimate at this point, in about a 50-year span between like when the end of the Severan dynasty, and I can't remember exactly what it's like, around 230, all the way up through Diocletian in about 280. During that kind of like 50-year-ish span, something like that. There was, like I said, there was like 30 or 40 emperors, depending on like how you actually count who was, you know, the legitimate emperor. When there was like a bazillion, it was just complete civil war with super hyperinflation, with like a bazillion invasions, all kinds of stuff kind of going on in the Roman Empire. Just the fact that it didn't like collapse then is almost like a miracle and whatever. But Pertinax was one of the emperors during that time period, and I read quite a bit on like the kind of the late Roman Empire and stuff, which usually includes the crisis of the 3rd century and stuff like that. From what the only thing I can really remember though about Pertinax is I think I want to say he was like famous as being kind of like a wrestler or something, not necessarily like in the arena per se, but just kind of like, you know, at the gymnasia or whatever, and he was like really big and strong or whatever, and was like something like that, I want to say. And eventually, you know, like one of the other emperors somehow came across him like during a campaign or something like that, and he kind of just like rose through the ranks. I don't know. And then obviously kind of during like when all these civil wars were basically all the generals, like the armies and stuff and the legions attached to them would just proclaim them as emperor, like, you know, when they weren't getting paid enough and whatever. You know, so it's kind of confusing who's actually like the legit emperor. He became like one of them, and, you know, became the top dog for at least a couple years or whatever. So anyways, it's gonna be really cool, like just having like a cool biography on like an individual figure during this time period that can be kind of like a messy, kind of like, you know, a muddy historical period, if you know what I mean, where it's just a lot of sources that are kind of contradictory or just completely lacking or don't make any sense and stuff like that. So I think it'd be kind of cool to read a book and kind of straighten a lot of that out. So thank you to Pen and Sword for sending me that as well. And then lastly, I really need to get going back on my World War I studies. I think 2 years ago I did like really good reading a lot of World War I books, which is like one of the only, if you've been following the channel, you probably know this, but for those who are new, it's like the only modernish history thing that I read about. I do have a lot of history books, but like once you get to about the Renaissance period, I kind of just taper off and I lose a lot of interest in, you know, any kind of history basically, except for World War I. So I like to kind of keep that kind of interesting and everything. And Erik Larson's Dead Wake, The Last Crossing of the Lusitania, is pretty famous actually. I mean, Erik Larson is probably like one of the more famous contemporary history writers that we have. I can't even remember. Of course, I literally say that, and then what is it? Devil in the White City, I think, is like one of the other ones that just recently came out. I can't remember. There was some that was in the Garden of the Beast or something like that. Anyways, it's been really highly regarded. For those who don't know, the Lusitania was kind of like a steamliner that was crossing the Atlantic from the United States over to the Great Britain, and it was sunk by German U-boats, and kind of was like one of the sort of factors that sort of led to the United States joining the war. In a roundabout way, I guess, even though it was, I think, the year or two before the United States joined. However, there's actually been a lot of, like, from what I understand from, like, the archaeological kind of excavations when they uncovered it, there really was, like, weapons and supplies and ammunition or whatever, which technically I think makes it, like, a legitimate, like, war target. But, of course, you know, the press at the time was not, you know, what the Allied powers were not gonna, like, say that. But anyways, it'd be kind of cool just to read kind of like a really popular contemporary historian on World War I. So yeah, that's why I picked Dead Wake. And you know, I might as well do it. I've had it and I need to get on that. So anyways, those are just the 6 books I hope to actually completely finish during January, and then kind of, obviously, if I finish those, kind of branch off into some other stuff. We shall see how well I do with that sort of thing, because maybe my problem is I'm not gonna read like any of them, and I'm just gonna do my own thing anyways, and I'm just gonna be like, why did I bother with this? But if you made it this far into the video, thank you so much. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment on what your favorite book that you're looking forward to in the first month of 2021 is. I always like to find new books through the comments and stuff. That's always been a lot of fun for me. Don't forget to check out my Instagram and Twitter and all that kind of stuff. And if you really want to support the channel, definitely check out my Etsy shop where I sell signs like this and whatnot. I think I'm at roughly 79 designs now, and I got a few more in the works, and we're going to just keep moving forward with that. And a few of you have already bought stuff from that, so definitely thank you so much for that. Even just liking items and favoriting the shop on Etsy, if you use Etsy and stuff, is a big help for me on that platform and whatnot. But anyways, like I said, thank you so much for watching and sticking around, and always remember, whatever you're reading in January, read victoriously.